And now, Brandon Thick Boy Schaub.
We have a special guest today. It is the man, the myth, the legend. He's the face of ONE Championship. He's the CEO. It's Chatri, and he's tuning in now. And you're in Singapore, boss?
Yeah. Yes, I just got back into Singapore. I've been literally flying nonstop around the world.
Yeah, you're a jet setter, man. But you kind of gotta be with everything going on at ONE Championship. I mean, just to start, it's what are we, about 15 days now into 2024. 2023 was a good year for ONE Championship. A lot of activity. I saw it firsthand.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we broke every record high in terms of viewership metrics, in terms of revenues, in terms of number of countries, number of events. I think we did 50 plus events last year, 55 events, something like that last year. And so we broke, every single metric we tracked, we broke a record high. And obviously a big moment was our US debut as well. So it was just a crazy year. But this year is already going to be even bigger. We're slated now for a minimum of 61 events, potentially 70 events this year. 61 is a minimum. It's locked and loaded. All across Asia, Middle East, and the US, and potentially Europe. So big stuff in store.
Because you have distribution with Sky Sports now in UK too, right? Which is big.
Yeah, that is massive. It's Europe's largest sports broadcaster by far.
Big boy.
It has a 50% audience. Yeah, it has a 50% audience share. It is the big 800-pound gorilla in terms of sports broadcasts in all of Europe, and we're just lucky because they chose us over the other players.
Yep, which is a good sign. I mean, when you look back on last year, I mean, this is going to be the toughest one to beat. The Rotatang versus Super League, the super fight that was back in, I think, August, September, the most watched Muay Thai event ever.
Yes, in history. 100 million plus viewers around the world. It was insane. Yeah, it was insane. I don't know if you saw that fight, but that was an insane war.
Insane.
That was
yes.
Crazy. I mean, if you rewatch it, you got to look at the micro, slow-mo seconds by second, because the elbows, the knees, it was so fast you couldn't catch it. All you could just see is blood dripping, but it was because just a
world class,
strategic fight. But it was an all-out war, and yet the tools they were using, the timing, the feints, the combinations. I mean, truly, like you have to sit there and rewind it to really capture the beauty and the art of what they were doing.
Yeah, they're so fast. Then you also had, that was a big moment. Then you had Angela Lee's retirement, which was, that was a tough one. But passing the torch to, Stamp Fairtex, that was a big moment.
Yeah, definitely. It's we just had 3 days ago with our first show on Amazon this year, the Victoria Lee Award, right? Yep. Victoria Lee's sister, 18 years old, passed away, and Angela has now has really as a result retired from her younger sister passing, and then now dedicating her life to mental health awareness and suicide awareness, and just making sure that the legacy of Victoria Lee lives on through. Victoria was genuinely one of the most incredible hearts of gold you ever meet. Like, just a nice, wonderful, authentic, loving, kind, giving person, and Angela wants to continue that legacy.
Yeah, the whole family is just. Everyone's so nice. That was a tough one. There's some highlights last year, but that was probably the darkest it got. And Angela's doing the Lord's work now. You see her all over and spreading the message. So she's a fighter, man. Whether she's in that ring or not, she's still keeping up a good fight. So yeah, I love Angela. But moving forward to 2024, good for me, good for the American fans. You guys announced 2 big boy moves. September 6th, you're back in my hometown. Now, you're in Colorado, but you're not the Broomfield Event Center when I attended the event last year. You guys decided to go even bigger, and you're at the Ball Arena, and that's where the world champion Denver Nuggets play. That's Jokic court over there. Yeah. So you guys decided to step your game up and bring it to the Ball Arena, which is a big move.
Well, Yeah, well, our fan base, because again, we track every metric around the world, viewership, engagement numbers across TV, social, digital, et cetera. And our fan numbers are just growing like it's insane in the US. And obviously, we sold out several weeks in advance when we did it at Broomfield. And, that was our kind of like put your toe in the water, see where we're at. And we had no idea, Brendan, and you were there, how rabid our fan base is. It was insane. I mean, we sold out several weeks before the event. And then the fans were just, I mean, they knew Rotang, they knew Stamp. I mean, it was crazy. They were chanting their name. It was like, and so I'm pretty confident we're going to sell out Ball Arena as well. I think Ball Arena is 15 or 20,000 capacity. And then Atlanta, we're also, in I think the
State Farm.
Where the
State Farm.
Yeah, I think that's where the Atlanta Hawks played, right? I think.
Correct.
Right. So I think that's also 20,000. I think we're going to sell that one out as well. So, I mean, it's just, I think, tippy toe with our toe in the water. And then from there on, from September onwards, we're going to do one event per quarter in the U.S., a minimum. And eventually we'd like to get to once a month in the U.S., per the Amazon plan. I mean, the Amazon Prime video, ideally having one, on-ground event in the U.S. once a month will really ignite things for fans.
Yeah, I think I was in person at the Broomfield events, and I think what blew me away is selling out. I expected that. I didn't realize how big of a, I guess you could say, a crossover star Stamp is. Stamp and MikeyMusumeci. Like the crowd went nuts. It was like a Taylor Swift concert when Stamp came out. It was insane, dude. It was like a GSP in Toronto. It was nuts.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So that's what I mean. Like I was shocked. I mean, I had no idea what to expect. I honestly didn't know if we were going to sell out or not, and that's why I was conservative and going with a 7,000 seater venue. Everyone's saying, no, on my team, they're all saying, Chatri, our brand is big enough to go to, 15, 20,000 seater in America. You've got to do it for the debut. I said, no, I just don't have conviction. I have no idea where we're sitting in America.
Smart.
And the fact that, I agree with you. I mean, our stars, whether it was Muay Thai or grappling or MMA, were treated like superstars. They were treated like, like Taylor Swift would by the Swifties.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts. Yeah. So, and I assume, I mean, you're not going to announce the fights on here, I'm sure, as it gets closer, but I assume because those are big American cards, you're going to bring out the big hitters for that.
For sure. Yes. All the big stars will be coming out. We actually haven't sat down yet with the matchmaking team and figure out what the cards are going to look like. But yeah, I mean, there's no way we're going to come in with a small card.
Yeah. And I assume because, DJ, he's blown up. He's doing his YouTube show, which is great. He's crushing on there. I love to see it. And I absolutely love DJ. I'd like to see in Denver DJ versus Bradley Martin. Just throwing things out there. He's 260. He's 260, Chatri. He's 260 though.
Yeah.
If we're going to do it, they talked about doing it at Bradley's gym, at my studio. I'm like, why don't you make it an exhibition fight, somewhere maybe before the event or something like that. Just kind of so fans can see how this goes down,
That's a good idea, Brendan. I hadn't thought of it, but I mean, DJ's, kind of in that zone where he's really, really cemented his status as the GOAT, having won world titles in both the largest organizations, UFC and ONE in the world. And then on top of it, he's just, I mean, think about it. Who in their right mind would do a super fight, mixed rules against Rotang? I mean, he went toe-to-toe with one of the greatest strikers on the planet, one of the greatest knockout artists. So, DJ's done it all. I think the only thing left for him would be like a super fight, mixed rules fight with MikeyMusumeci. That would be also very interesting, obviously, Mikey being arguably the greatest pound-for-pound grappler on the planet today.
Definitely an argument. We had the Ruto brothers on Firing the Kid, and they talked about, obviously jiu-jitsu's their thing. And again, those kids, they come in the room, the energy's insane. Just their vibes, everybody was in such a good mood. When those kids are in the room, they just have it. You know what I'm saying? They just, whatever it is, they have. I told them, I said, I wish I could bottle your positivity and your energy. I'd be a billionaire. They're such good dudes.
Yeah, it's crazy because when Cade and I and Ty and I first met, we just clicked. I mean, we just clicked. It was like, we just get along so well. And I agree. I love their energy. I love their vibe. I love what they represent. And obviously their jiu-jitsu is insane.
Nuts.
The pace they put on and their athleticism and their just sharpness and submission skills, crazy. These guys come to finish, and again, and that's why we chose, when we launched the grappling product, just like when we launched the Muay Thai product, just like when we launched the kickboxing product, we always start off with trying to find the most exciting, best of the best in that specific discipline, because that's the spark.
Yep.
That's a spark that's going to ignite fandom that allows us to continue to build that category, right? And so we chose MikeyMusumeci, we chose Caden Tai, and I think they're carrying the flag around the world for jiu-jitsu unbelievably well. They're obviously really fan-friendly, but their styles, again, are just so exciting, and they come to finish.
Yep.
They come to finish.
Yeah, and I think, with the Ruto brothers, they're talking about taking an MMA fight, and I just said, why? Just keep dominating, and they both said it's just something we want to do. He was like, we'd love to talk to Chatri and figure out ONE Championship. I'm like, have you been striking? And they're like, yeah, we've been striking for about 2 years now.
Yeah. So since and the drums beating louder with Cade. Cade's like, he's itching and ready to go.
Yeah, Cade was all over it. Cade's the one who was like, no, it's going to happen. We're talking to Chatri. I'm talking to my manager. I'm like, damn, he's serious.
Yeah. Tai wants to dominate grappling for a little bit longer and then potentially go to MMA. Yeah. But these guys are beasts. No matter, I mean, they're such athletic specimens and such phenoms that once they transition to MMA, their wrestling is on point and their chain are insane. And it's just a matter of time when they get their striking up to speed. I don't see anybody in the world beating them. It's just crazy. These guys have it, because if you look at the explosiveness and the cardio, they can go all out for 10 minutes straight. I mean, all out,
Yep.
I mean, and that is not easy. The pace they put, the combinations. I mean, you're a grappler too, Brendan. The pace they put is it's crazy. I mean, when I look at that, I'm like, I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 14 years or something. I look at that, I'm like, man, I can do that 30 seconds of that, and then I'm done.
They're freaks. They're freaks. The pace they put on, their mindset. Yeah, if they want to do it, they're going to do it. They're going to be a problem. With kind of the news going on in the mixed martial arts world, and you were actually in studio when this was going down, when you're negotiating with Francis. Looking back on it, this is my take on the Francis situation. I'd love to get your thoughts on this. He decided to sign with the PFL, but to me, it wouldn't matter if he signed with any organization, whether it was you, PFL, somebody else. Because of his outcome with Tyson Fury now as the Joshua fight, all you guys kind of dodged the bullet there, meaning you're not at the kind of the mercy of Francis and his boxing career. Because if you would have signed him, it's MMA's on the back burner. To be honest, I don't think he ever fights MMA again. I don't know why he would. With the paydays he's getting with Fury and now with Joshua. So it kind of worked out for you guys. Is that fair to say or no?
Well, I don't really think of it in those terms, Brendan. I look at it in terms of, man, Francis, he nailed it. Congratulations to Francis. I mean, the whole world were skeptics and he proved everyone wrong. And so congratulations to him. He's making history. And I honestly thought him fighting Tyson Fury was crazy. I thought.
Me too. Insane.
Beforehand, and when the fight unfolded, I'm like, oh my gosh, he actually hung in and actually quote unquote beat. I thought he won. I thought he beat Francis. I thought Francis beat Tyson. All you can do is applaud and congratulate Francis. There's nothing. I mean, I'm like, man, hats off to him. He created his own destiny. He's 1 in 8 billion, and he's proven it. So I just have nothing but good things to say about Francis.
Yeah, I think with the whole France thing, they're like, where's he going to end up? And it doesn't matter because MMA is a kind of sidetrack now.
No. And the reality is, after the Tyson fight, Francis is now truly his own, like, he's beholden to nobody.
Yep.
When you can fight the very best in the world the way he did with Tyson, actually beat Tyson, like, for lack of a better analogy, I mean, he is now Mike Tyson. Like, you call the shots.
Correct.
You call the shot.
And he's fighting Joshua now. Like, now he's fighting Joshua, and he's making more money than
crazy.
It's insane. So it really worked out for him. It really worked out for him.
It was a high risk, high reward strategy, and it worked out beautifully. I mean, like I said, you got it. given his life story of working the mines, in Cameroon, all the way to where he is today, living on the streets in Paris, homeless, like you just, I mean, there's nothing. You just his life should be a movie,
and it's gonna be. Trust me. I talked to Markel, his agent, about it. Yeah, it sounds like they're knocking at the door to make a movie. I don't know who's gonna play Francis, but I don't see a lot of Hollywood actors that look like Francis Ngannou. So good luck with that. So just in the MMA landscape, PFL obviously made a splash in the quarter 4 with their funding, the Saudi funding. Thoughts on the PFL growing? I guess it's different than what you guys do. You guys kind of sing yourself out with basically being completely different than the rest. That's how you guys, I think, are why you're growing so fast and you're making all these waves. And then obviously PFL's doing their thing. And they get this funding, the Francis news, which really in hindsight's not much there. They acquired Bellator. Thoughts on that?
So, I think everything comes down to, instead of hyperbole and hype, is look at facts and figures, right? Let's just go to the Facebook page, okay? And you go to Facebook page for UFC, you go for ONE. I think both of us are about over 40 million fans.
Jeez.
Look at the engagement rates of fans are insane on these pages. Then you go to PFL or Bellator and they're at, 1 million, 2 million fans and very low engagement rates. So I think there's a lot of hyperbole and we will see substance down the road. When the rubber meets the road, let's see what happens. But for sure, I spoke to Scott Coker, and he's befuddled by the whole thing.
Love Scott. Yeah, I love Scott. I think
Scott. Yeah, I love Scott. He's a good guy.
Yep.
And he and I spoke, and he's just befuddled by the whole thing. He's like, it doesn't make any sense what Paramount did, but they did what they did.
Yep. I think too, when you talk about rubber meeting the road, it's all about, and this is what separates you guys in the UFC. It's all about depth. When you look at the quality of fighters, 1 through 10, you look at matchups, what people are interested in. There's UFC, there's ONE Championship. When you look at the rest, there's not a lot of depth, and that's the issue these companies have. And they're also not making stars. That's the other issue.
Well, that's a point that I was stressing is like, you have to build a platform first, a platform of a content engine, i.e. 61 events a year like we're throwing this year. But we have, our social media alone has 80 million fans, right? Rotang has 5 million fans that we built organically. So meaning that and that's the machine of the UFC that they've done so well. They've built a machine platform that produces stars. And so has ONE Champion. And these are the only 2 organizations where you can generally get, when Rotang joined ONE Champion, he had like 14,000 followers on Instagram, even though we knew he had potential. Within a few years, he has 5 million, on social media. This kind of thing is like, it's a platform business. You got to build a platform. You can't just buy one big star and expect to do well.
Doesn't work.
That's not how it works. I mean, because you'll have one great pay-per-view if you're able to find, let's take Francis. It was Francis, but if you're able to find a worthy opponent, then you could have a great pay-per-view. But it doesn't make a company.
Agree.
To build a league, to build a brand the way UFC and ONE have, to build a platform, it takes years and years. We're broadcasting live in 190 countries with the largest broadcasters. In Brazil, it's Globo. In the US, it's Amazon. In Europe, it's Sky. In the Middle East, it's beIN Sports. In Thailand, it's Channel 7. In Japan, it's Abima. In Australia, it's 7 Network. These are the biggest broadcasts.
Yep.
Biggest broadcasts in their countries, okay? And so again, it's I'm not throwing any hate. I'm just putting a dose of reality. And again, fans can just go to the social media page, go to YouTube page of PFL versus ONE or UFC. It's night and day.
Yeah, it's night and day.
So you need to create you have to have massive fandom. That's it. And so UFC has massive fandom. There's no question about it. Okay, they have fans who are. We have massive fandom. That's it. These are the only 2 combat sports properties that truly have massive fandom around the world, and it's because we've both built huge brands and platforms. That's the key. Platforms, a content engine of live sports, 61 events every single Friday here in primetime in Asia, once a month in primetime in the US. That takes a lot of time and work and depth. And as you said, Brendan, our roster is the best of the best, right? And we are very different. It's whether it's MMA, mixed kickboxing, Muay Thai, grappling, etc. We sign the very best of the best, and that's why fans want to watch ONE Championship. Nobody wants to watch, second-rate, third-rate, fourth-rate fighters. No, that's just the reality.
I agree 100%. I think you nailed it on the head, and I knew you guys were onto something good because, I'm sure you're aware, and we don't have to dwell on it. There's a hit piece about the ONE Championship financials. And I saw, and it was right around the PFL news when it came out, and they're trying to, shame you guys. And I thought, ONE Championship's a threat. When I saw that, I went, oh no, this is all crap. Like that's when when you start seeing stuff like that, this kind of, it's just hate. It's just loser mentality. So when I saw that stuff, I was like, ONE Championship must be doing something right. The UFC gets it, you guys get it. I don't hear anybody else getting it.
So there is a hit piece every year. Once or twice a year.
Yep.
Yeah, every year, calling for our demise that year. And what happens, Brendan? We hit new record highs every year for the last 7 years. So, it's frustrating because it's a false narrative. And it is what it is.
But you know how it goes, Chatri. I mean, especially at the level you're at, like when that stuff goes and people want to see the demise because it's easier to tear down than to create. So what you've built, these guys don't like, and they might be loyal to this organization over here, and you guys are starting to do well. So this is something for them to catch on to because there's not a lot to hate on. So that's one thing to focus on. And it rears its head every year, and then it goes away. It's in the media cycle for about 2 days, and then it goes away. Yeah. And then you guys announce these crazy deals and the Sky Network, and you're coming to America on these 2 giant arena, fights you're doing. So it keeps on moving, it's expected. It's expected.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, 2024 is my team and I are gearing up for the best year ever. I mean, our revenues are expected to double, are on pace of doubling. Last year, we hit over 100 million in revenues. I think it was 110 million last year, around there, 110, 120 million in revenues. Why I'm saying because the final numbers haven't come out yet, but they will come out in the next, few weeks. And we're expected to double our revenues this year, right? So again, the train keeps moving and it's picking up pace, momentum, acceleration, and we're slated to do 61 to 70 events this year alone. How many global organizations are doing that level of scale, right? I mean, around the world with the broadcast, 190 countries live on the biggest broadcasters, right?
Agree.
Again, it's only UFC and ONE.
And you guys are expanding. I mean, you guys are going to Qatar, Japan. It's only expanding.
Yeah, we're super pumped, and that's another thing that I as the home of martial arts for us, at ONE, is being able to showcase the different arts because every country. So in America, MMA is super popular. It is the number 1 combat sport, right? Boxing and MMA in America. But if you go country by country, like in China, kickboxing is actually more popular. Samdan Kung Fu, they like striking arts,
interesting.
Right? Is more popular, right? So every country, again, when you have a purely American view of the world, you think MMA is the biggest thing around the world. No, it's not. You go to country by country. You go to Thailand. Muay Thai is like
dominates
a million times bigger than MMA. I mean, MMA is a dot. No one follows MMA in Thailand. Nobody. It's like a dot. Muay Thai is like a religion in Thailand, right? So the fact that we're able to do different martial arts and we're able to mix and match these fight cards based on geography. So when we come to America, we know Americans absolutely love MMA. So we put on amazing MMA fights, but we also want to showcase some of the best striking in the world, best grappling. So we kind of like introduce you to a whole nother world,
Agree.
And I know Joe loves the Muay Thai product that we have, and he talks a lot on his podcast. And he was blown away by Rotang, right? So it's these guys, folks have just never seen elite striking at that level forever. I mean, how many 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds have 300 professional fights?
It's insane. Insane.
Yeah.
When you look at Rotang, then you look at Stamp, it's just a different level.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you got Nikki Holton, fighting Akiyama, which it's just mega fight.
Yeah. So that fight we're making, and it's one of those special mixed rules fights, right, that we do. So it's 3 rounds, 3 minutes apiece. The first round is boxing with 4-ounce gloves. Second round is Muay Thai in 4-ounce gloves, and the third is an MMA round. So it's a legendary 8-time kickboxing world champion in Nikki Holtzkin, and Akiyama, a Japanese MMA legend. So it's legend versus legend in this unique mixed rules match that makes people the intrigue factor. So that's the kind of again, we're the whole martial arts. So I really believe, right, that martial art is not a game, meaning that if you're only good at one rule set, then your martial arts doesn't really work. Martial arts, at the end of the day, the essence of martial arts is, can you defend yourself hand-to-hand combat under any circumstance? So on the street, in the dojo, in the ring, on the battlefield, whatever it is, right? Hand-to-hand combat. That's what martial arts is really about. And so the fact that, our athletes can express themselves in different rule sets, and then even in mixed rule sets, it just shows the superiority of their own martial arts skills, right? Like how many athletes anywhere in the world, combat sports athletes, whether it's UFC or ONE, can do what DJ did with Rooktang. Like, would you dare to go against the very best striker in his or her rule set, for those 3 minutes of hell? Like, you have your martial arts skills have to be at such an elite level, right? So that's why I say DJ is truly the GOAT. It's like, you need to be able to fight under all circumstances and rule sets in order to say, are you really the greatest? Because if you're only good at one rule set, like the unified rule set, or good at boxing rule set, you're good at that rule set. Right. You're not necessarily the best fighter on the planet. You're not necessarily the best martial artist on the planet. But if you can fight under, like, bro, I'll fight you on the street. I'll fight you in boxing rules. I'll fight you in Muay Thai rules. I'll fight you in MMA rules. I'll fight you in no rules. Then, damn, you are real. You are legit. I mean, the best martial artist, right?
And to DJ's, I dig it. And to DJ's credit, it's a huge risk, man, to try and survive, for those 2 rounds against Ratatang's nuts. Yeah. And for Akiyama, for Sexyama to do that against Nikki Holtzkin, those first 2 rounds are going to be tough, man. When I saw it, I'm like, eesh, I don't like that. I wouldn't do it.
It's crazy, but yeah. So I mean, that's the whole kind of, like, I guess the whole martial arts philosophy that we don't see much in the West, or don't see at all, right? Out here in Asia, martial arts is really about, like, that whole samurai bushido spirit, like, fighting, being able to conquer yourself, being able to conquer your fears, doubts, and insecurities. In any circumstance. That is the essence of martial arts. And that's why millions of parents across the continent, but actually around the world, send their kids to martial arts schools. Correct. It's to learn this warrior spirit, this fighting spirit of unbreakable spirit, being able to conquer yourself under any circumstance, right? And that's something that's old school Japanese martial arts. Obviously MMA was first invented in Japan in 1983 with the Shuto. And not many American fans know that. They think that UFC is the birth of MMA. A decade before, we had all the different
judo, pancreas. Like there's a lot.
Pancreas, all that, exactly. And hats off to the Japanese. It's the Japanese culture. It's that fighting culture. They have. Even to this day, all the kids train martial arts. All kendo, aikido, judo, karate since they're kids. All of them. In school. It's a way, American kids play basketball or football or baseball. So that's something I think that we bring, and that's why we're doing so well around the world. It's this authenticity. It's this sense of, like, there's a real depth to the ethos of what we're doing. It's not just trash talking and who can tweet the best.
Agree.
We're looking for the very best of the best fighters on the planet who can fight and adapt under any rule set.
And this will be my last question for you, but what's your thoughts on kind of the birth of kind of the YouTuber fighting? Like, there's a lane and people are watching. You look at the Jake Pauls of the world, the Logan Pauls. Your thoughts on that when you see what you're doing, then you look at these kids doing this kind of, you got the Jake Paul, the Nate Diaz stuff.
Yeah. Right. So like the world has changed, Brendan. Like, before, sports really was about best of the best, right? And now you're seeing there's the entertainment side of sports. So fans want to watch not necessarily just the best of the best. Now, what ONE Championship does is only the best of the best. So I'm not, again, like, the world is big enough where if you're a YouTuber and you're a blue belt in jiu-jitsu or blue belt striker, and you want to do your thing because you have a fan base, I think that's great.
Yeah, there's a lane for it. Agree.
Yeah, and it brings more attention to combat sports in general. Now, if you want to watch the best of the best on the planet, then you come to ONE. Then you watch ONE, right? And I still believe that having the very best of the best fighters on the planet across disciplines is what, at the end of the day, truly what is rare and magical, right? I mean, it's like the NBA World Championships. It's like the English Premier League World Championships. It's like Olympics, Olympic gold medal. People want to see the best of the best, and then let the drama unfold organically.
Agree, brother. Agree 100%. Well, I'm just here from Calabasas watching you guys crush, man. And, I support you guys fully.
Thank you so much, Brendan. You're one of the guys, first guys, that reached out and just said, hey, I'm a fan. And this was a while back. So you're one of the early birds, you were one of the early guys who caught on. And now obviously our popularity is creeping up. And I when I look at the next 1 to 2, 3 years, I just think we're going to explode in the U.S. in popularity because when I look at, again, our plans for the U.S., big things are coming, and we're pumped.
And I'll be there. If you have me, I'll be there, especially in Denver, man, Atlanta. Let's do it.
For sure. Definitely, man. Hey, thank you so much, Ben. I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Enjoy your day, man. It's nighttime here, but enjoy your day over there, brother.
Sending love and positive energy and prayers for your daughter.
Thank you, brother.
Everything works out well.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, Chatri. Appreciate you.
Everybody,
later, brother.
Bye-bye.